in Washington. As we wrap up today's broadcast, well, commemorations are being held in West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Virginia, and Maryland today for the 150th anniversary of the abolitionist John Brown's raid on the arsenal at Harpers Ferry. We end today's show with a reading of John Brown's address to the court in Virginia that ordered his hanging. Actor Harris Yulin read his words as part of a larger reading of Howard Zinns' classic work, People's History of the United States. Yulin's followed by James Earl Jones reading Frederick Douglass. We begin with historian Howard Zinns.
John Brown, more than any other white American, devoted his life and finally sacrificed it on behalf of freedom for the slave. His plan, impossible and courageous, was to seize the arsenal at Harpers Ferry, Virginia, with a band of black and white abolitionists and set off a revolt of slaves throughout the South. The plan failed. Some of his men, including 2 of his own sons, were killed. John Brown was wounded, captured, sentenced to death by hanging by the state of Virginia, and with the enthusiastic approval of the government of the United States. When he was put to death, Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "He will make the gallows holy as the cross." Here, John Brown addresses the court that ordered his hanging.
Had I interfered in the manner which I admit, had I so interfered in behalf of the rich, the powerful, the intelligent, the so-called great, or in behalf of any of their friends, or father, mother, brother, sister, wife, or children, or any of that class, and suffered and sacrificed what I have in this interference, it would have been all right. Every man in this court would have deemed it an act worthy of reward rather than of punishment. This court acknowledges, too, as I suppose, the validity of the law of God. I see a book kissed, which I suppose to be the Bible, or at least the New Testament, which teaches me that all things whatsoever I would that men should do to me, I should do even so to them. I endeavor to act up to that instruction. I say I'm yet too young to understand that God is any respecter of persons. I believe that to have interfered as I've done, as I've always freely admitted I have done, in behalf of his despised poor, I did not wrong, but right. Now, if it is deemed necessary that I should forfeit my life for the furtherance of the ends of justice, and mingle my blood further with the blood of my children and with the blood of millions in this slave country whose rights are disregarded by wicked, cruel, and unjust enactments, I submit. So let it be done.
22 years later, in 1881, Frederick Douglass was asked to speak at a college in Harpers Ferry.
If John Brown did not end the war that ended slavery, he did at least begin the war that ended slavery. If we look over the dates, places, and men for which this honor is claimed, we shall find that not Carolina, but Virginia, not Fort Sumter, but Harpers Ferry and the Arsenal, not Colonel Anderson, but John Brown began the war that ended American slavery and made this a free republic. Until that blow was struck, the prospect of freedom was dim, shadowy, and uncertain. The irrepressible conflict was one of words, votes, and compromises. When John Brown stretched forth his arm, the sky was cleared.
James Earl Jones reading Frederick Douglass on this today, the 150th anniversary of abolitionist John Brown's raid on the arsenal at Harpers Ferry. And that does it for our broadcast. Democracy Now! Is produced by Mike Burke, Shruford Okadus. Aaron Mate, Angelique Kamet, Steve Martinez, Nicole Salazar, Hani Masood, Robbie Karen, Mike DeFilippo, Miguel Noguera, Peter Curries, our engineers. Special thanks also to Becca Staley, Nick Gilla, Hugh Grant, Samantha Chambly, Jessel Noor, John Gerberg, John Randolph, Callan Innocent, Kieran Krug Meadows, Rakan Penny, Vesta Godars, Rabia Alkhani. Our website is democracynow.org. You can get our transcripts, video, and audio podcasts there. I'm Amy Goodman with Juan Gonzalez. Thanks for joining us for another edition of Democracy Now!